Well, investigators say it could take months to identify new remains found behind a home on Mallory Crescent this week. That, of course, is the Leaside neighborhood where investigators are back as part of the Bruce McArthur investigation. Our Tammy Sutherland live there again today. And Tammy, you got a first-hand look at what they are doing there yesterday. Good morning.
Good morning, Melanie. It was a very rare behind-the-scenes look that reporters here were surprised to even be offered. The lead detective, Detective Sergeant Hank Nzinga, walking the media down into the ravine area there. It's a very large, steep hill, actually holding onto a rope, trying to brace yourself as you're going down this hill into the ravine area to get a glimpse of what the forensic experts are doing, sifting through the debris and sand there in the area where they found human remains on Wednesday. It's something that was very rare, but the detective sergeant saying that he wanted to be transparent and wanted the public to get a look at what was happening, what the operation really is about. Now, it was Wednesday that they found what they first called items of interest that yesterday morning they confirmed were indeed human remains. Although the detective would not confirm the nature of the remains, he does say that it could belong to one of the previous victims whose remains were already found earlier in 7 large planters here at the property. Could belong to Majid Kayan. He is one of the victims whose remains have not been discovered yet, or they could belong to a new victim that police are unaware of. Either way, it's going to take some time for testing to be done for that positive identification to happen. Later this morning, they are expected to be back here continuing the search, a search that they expect will keep going until at least next week. Mel, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Tammy, thank you so much for that. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau put in the hot seat during a visit to Toronto yesterday, facing tough questions about Canada's immigration policies and allegations of misconduct. Trudeau in town to meet with Doug Ford, the new Premier of Ontario, taking aim at the federal Liberals' immigration policies, blaming them for the province's housing crisis. Trudeau defended his government, saying that Canada has an international responsibility to asylum seekers. The PM also stood firm against allegations that he had behaved inappropriately with a female reporter back in 2000, insisting that he had done nothing wrong. Trudeau will be meeting with Mayor John Tory later on this morning. U.S. tariffs on $34 billion of Chinese goods have now come into effect, signaling the start of a trade war between the world's top 2 economic powers. The hefty 25% levy came into effect at midnight Washington time. China immediately firing back, imposing a similar 25% tariff on more than 500 U.S. import items, also worth $34 billion. The American tariffs come as part of President Trump's pledge to protect U.S. jobs and stop what he calls unfair transfers of American technology and intellectual property to China. Now, despite his tough moves, Trump says he is not looking to make enemies on the global stage.
I will say this, I'm meeting with President Putin next week, and getting along, let me tell you, getting along with Russia and getting along with China and getting along with other countries is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing.
Words of goodwill, but Trump is not backing down. The White House says it will impose even more tariffs on Chinese goods later this month unless Beijing changes their policies. Well, the rescue mission of 12 boys and their coach inside a flooded cave in Thailand suffering its first death overnight. Officials say this volunteer diver died while trying to deliver oxygen and other supplies to the soccer team, now trapped for 12 days. The former Thai Navy SEAL was reportedly unresponsive to CPR after passing out underwater. Officials say the death comes as rescuers race against time before heavy rain and lower oxygen levels will make conditions worse this weekend. Back here at home now, a 31-year-old man has been charged in connection to the Mocha Cafe murders in Vaughan. Jason Hay has been handed 2 consecutive life sentences for the deaths of 47-year-old Maria Voci and 24-year-old Christopher Desimode back in 2015. He was captured on security camera checking the surroundings around the cafe before shooting the pair and injuring 2 others. The sentence means that Hay will serve a minimum of 50 years in prison before he is eligible for parole. We are sitting at 6:07. We're going downstairs to Roger and Winston.